So today we're here with Miss Donaldson, our amazing Java teacher at MA, and we're really excited to talk to you today. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
So our first question for you is, can you tell us where you went to high school and how you would describe your high school experience, like in a few sentences?
Yes, so I went to Las Lomas High School in Walnut Creek, California, so just about an hour across the bay. My high school experience, I feel, was super different than your guys' high school experience in that it was way less intense, much less stressful. We had like 3 APs at the whole school. It was a very good high school, but it just, times were different back then. So I feel like you guys go to high school at a much more stressful level than my generation.
And then would you say that your high school had a big impact on what you decided to pursue in your college or your career?
Yes, I would say my high school had a huge impact only because up until high school, I had found I was always in advanced math, but I didn't really understand it like in middle school. And when I got to high school, there was a teacher. She was a math teacher. She was brand new. She was young. She had worked at NASA. Her name was Nancy Wong. And she was the best teacher. And it was like it opened up math to me, and I understood it from then on. Like it just opened a door. And she was such a good teacher that not only me, but also Mrs. Carson, who is Mr. Carson's wife. She's a teacher here. She's been one of my best friends since kindergarten. She was also in that class, and she decided to be a math teacher. And another friend of ours, Gretchen, and another friend of ours, Kirsten, all decided to be math teachers because of this one really amazing teacher. So that definitely set me up for wanting to be a teacher.
Oh, wow.
Because we all went from like not understanding math to like, oh, we love math. So that's the impact we felt a teacher could make.
So could you tell us a little bit about your journey to college? Were you stressed? What was it like for you? And is it as complicated as it is?
No, so that is so different now. Like in my generation, no one really thought about college until senior year. Like it wasn't even on your mind. And then I applied to my parents' college because I knew what it was, University of Washington. And I applied to Berkeley because I lived near Berkeley and I'd been there to get pizza. And I thought, that's a good school. And then my friend's dad had gone to Stanford and he was like, you should try Stanford. I'm like, okay. And so that's where I applied to. And when I think back on that, like I wrote my essay in 30 minutes in pencil on each application. That was that. Like it was so, I took the SAT once. It was just so different. And I got into all three schools.
Oh,
like
wow.
that was the other, no one ever gets into all their schools now. So it was just a really different time. And I think that makes it hard on people my generation, like me, my friends. That's how it was then. So a lot of my friends with their first time children don't understand that it's just so much harder now. So they're very shocked by the process. So I would say to all the parents, get ready, it's different.
Okay, and you went to Berkeley, right?
I did go to Berkeley.
And then what did you major in?
Mathematics.
Okay.
Because of that, I knew that because of that one teacher, I wanted to be a math teacher. So I majored in math. One thing that was hard is because I was a woman and because I was good at math, all these like advisors, mentors, grandparents, they were like, oh, you should be more than a teacher. You should be an engineer. You should be a whatever. You should be at work at NASA. And I'm like, but I like teaching. And so that's one of my things, I think, as you listen to your like soul and your heart, don't let people knock you off your game. Listen to yourself. And just because it's not maybe the most prestigious career or the highest paying career, if it's going to make you happy, that's what you got to do.
Could you, in your own words, describe your current job and what led you to your current role?
When I knew I wanted to be a teacher, my husband, my fiance at the time, his cousin had gone to Menlo Atherton, and she had been here when they were doing the integration between East Palo Alto and Atherton, and there was some crazy times. Like they had the SWAT teams here all the time. It was crazy. But for whatever reason, I thought that sounds awesome. So I really wanted to come specifically to Atherton because that sounded like just the right idea of American education to make sure that everybody, the whole melting pot comes together at the same place. So I targeted Menlo Atherton. I waited for that interview and then I interviewed and I didn't even get the job because I was too young. But luckily the person they gave it to didn't want it. So I got it. So I came in. It was a really tough steep learning curve to be a new teacher. But I stuck it out and I learned that the way to succeed in your first job is to make friends quickly, to make peers quickly and to listen to them and to ask for help and guidance. And form a community.
And then I know you studied math at Berkeley, right? And then how did you kind of like transfer into teaching?
So, because I knew I wanted to be a teacher, I did volunteering at Berkeley High. And then, so kind of got used to it. So then as soon as I graduated, I applied to teaching programs and got into Cal State. It was Hayward, now it's East Bay, and did that for a year.
Do you think you'd ever want to teach a math class as opposed to just computer science?
Oh, yeah. No, I used to teach all math. But the way I did get the job was the computer science teacher wanted to retire. And he was like, if you'll teach computer science, I think we'll hire you. So I'm like, okay, I can teach computer science because I had taken computer science. And my father's a mechanical engineer, he bought our family one of the first home computers. And so my sister and I had quite a bit of experience on home computers. So I figured I can teach coding. And that's how I got the job. And then I taught math for a number of years, and then I stayed home to be with my children, my daughters, for a number of years. And then Menlo Atherton called, and they said, computer science classes are really growing. We need somebody to come back. So I came back, and so I've been here for another 10 years since then.
What was your favorite math course that you took? Yeah.
I love teaching geometry.
Okay.
What that I took? Oh, there was a class about Mathematica where you could plot like really complicated calculus equations and we could build these beautiful representations of them. That was my favorite.
Nice. Yeah, but I'm just asking because I'm really interested in math also. I'm really thinking about majoring in math. It's like my favorite subject, my best subject. I don't know.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
You should definitely do it. But here's my recommendation. Do applied math.
I'm actually looking at applied math. That's what I'm not sure yet, but I've heard of some people taking it and I think I'd really, and also I feel like I can be applied to a lot of different things later, so I don't need to choose right away, engineer, any of that.
No, math is a great major.
Yeah.
It sets you up for success in a lot of different fields. And the undergraduate, the lower division math courses are the same courses that the physics majors take or the comp sci majors take. So if you want to, you could then shift into another. But if you love the math, you can stick with it.
Yeah.
Math majors are the best.
More about like your job. What's something that people would find surprising about your job here?
I think when people talk to me, they're surprised. Like when my friends talk to me, they're surprised by how joyful I am about my job. Like, to me, this is the honor of getting to get to know you guys is just one of the honors of my life. Like, every day I come in and no matter what kind of day I've had up to then, at that point, when I leave school, I'm always just so happy. And like, you guys are so like smart and kind and way more like thoughtful and determined than my class was. You just give me so much hope for the future, and you're so funny, and you're just great. That's the best part of my job is the students.
Oh, that's great. That's really cute.
Yeah. So kind of going back to like your high school experience, if you could go back and give yourself advice as a high schooler, what would it be? And also if you could give one piece of advice to MA students.
So it's kind of the same thing, I think. I feel like when I went into high school, I was just really authentic to myself. And I didn't think too much about what people were thinking about what I was doing. So like, I'd been a swimmer all my life, and I thought, I'm going to join the swim team. And my friends were like, ooh, that's scary. Don't do that. We're not doing it. So I joined the swim team, and I made all these friends. And then my friends were like, we should have done it. And they joined me. And then like, I'd been in the band my whole life, and I knew that was kind of nerdy, but I'm like, but I like the band. So I stayed in the band, and that was super fun. We got to go to Disneyland, and I made great friends. And then I was like, I like helping people. I'll do student leadership. And I was senior class president. And I just did the things I wanted to do. And I took hard classes because I liked them. Like I liked the learning of it, not because I wanted to get into a college. So I kind of stumbled into a successful path for myself just by really being authentic to who I was. And so that would be my advice, is to be authentic, to just follow your heart and your soul and don't think about what your peers are thinking about your choices. Do what you want.
Since you're talking about, your peers influencing you, would you say any of your friends or family did influence you in what you wanted to be besides your teacher?
That's a good question. So I would say my father had a big influence on me in that because he was an engineer. He was always very STEM positive. Like both my sister and I went into STEM careers. And he definitely was like, you can do the math. Of course you can do the math. I never thought that women shouldn't be in math or computers.
Yeah.
So he was very directly influential. Also, I had an internship at NASA for a couple of years with the smartest man I have ever met. His name was Murray Toback, and he was the head of all aerodynamics. He'd worked on like the space shuttle and the stealth bomber. And he was not only mathematically very smart, but he was a very wise human being. And so working with someone that smart taught me so much about the world and like society, and how important it is to give back and to be at a school like MA where you're not just in your own bubble, but like dealing with the real world.
Yeah, that's really great. And I think it's really great that, like, as a woman, you're a teacher, because I think it also, like, sort of supports the idea of, like, women can go into STEM. They can do stuff like that. And I think that's a big, like...
like when I got here, all the higher math teachers were men. And that was like, ooh, it's a little more intimidating. And so now I love that there's a lot of women, like Mrs. Bryan and Ms. Bryan.
Yeah, Ms. Bryan is great. She's my math teacher.
Yeah, teaching the high classes. So that's positive. That's a positive change.
Thank you
so much.
You're so welcome. Thank you. I'm honored that you would want to talk.